Our first look on diamond number 1 at a team with high hopes. The Bear Creek Express. They are a perfect 2-0, and they will send Riley Mannion to the 8-foot circle tonight. Blair, you've seen Riley Mannion a lot. I was lucky enough to watch him certainly on video, but may have seen one of the best games he's ever thrown in Simcoe, Ontario this year at the Hill United tournament.
Good young ball player, 25 years old, hard thrower, up, down, has got a really good change, got to learn at the feet of Sean Cleary and Justin Schofield this year on the tournament circuit with Bear Creek. And now this is his opportunity to shine as really, I would have to think here, going to be the ace of the staff for the Bear Creek Express the rest of the way.
Well, Riley has pitched 4 1/3 innings. It came in a win over the Surrey Rebels, and now he faces national team member Matthew Waugh and the Sook Loggers. And Sook has had as difficult a schedule, the host team here, as anyone in the tournament. They faced the Toronto Batmen and then had a very difficult opponent, the Grand Prairie Pirates. They fell this afternoon 5-3, so they're 0-2. And this is a dangerous team at the top of the order. Mannion, the pitcher, also threw for Canada at the, I put it in quotations, U23 World Cup. COVID really made it a U25 event because that tournament was supposed to be played in 2021 and then got pushed back in Argentina to this April.
Yeah, you had the grandfather rule for guys who were eligible back in 2021, got to stay eligible in 2023.
Which I actually thought was a really good decision. You only get so many of those opportunities.
Yeah, no argument here.
As Matthew Waugh had a couple of hits earlier today. A long-time national team veteran, has played in 10-plus Canadian senior men's championships. Won it last year as a member of the Galway Hitmen from Newfoundland, who are a perfect 4-0, I believe, now.
Yeah, Galway is 4-0. East Hants is now 3-1. Stompers are 4-0.
Mannion continues to work to Matthew Waugh. And the changeup misses down and away.
And that's a pitch that he's got to get into the bottom of the strike zone. If he can't throw it for strikes, then the batters can just ignore it and take it off the table.
And I will tell you that the Team Canada brass is here tonight in full force.
In force, yep.
And Mannion with a terrific pitch on the outside corner to strike out Matthew Waugh with the game's first at-bat. Chris Walushka has been a story. Veteran. He's 3 for 8 in the tournament with a double, a triple, and a couple of runs batted in for a Sook team that has a top 5 in particular in their order. Very dangerous. Hasn't exactly clicked yet on all cylinders. And Walushka had a good cut at the Mannion offering. The rise misses up that time from Mannion. How would you grade his ISC performance?
He got the win in their opening game, which is what they asked of him. And then the ball belonged to Sean Cleary and Justin Schofield after that. And that was his opportunity to watch and learn some more. He's already won an ISC 2 championship. He did that in 2019 with the Coburg DRC squad. So he's been through a couple of ISC World Tournament experiences already, just at the tender age of 25. And playing on this team was a big step up in his development.
Walushka just got a piece of that pitch. Chris, 38 years of age, and still performing at a high level. Another changeup, and again, out of the strike zone. When he can establish that, and that was a pitch he threw well as that game went on. And that game, if I'm not mistaken, was against a team named Gremlins in Simcoe. And fouled back. Gremlins didn't lose a lot of games this year.
Well, they lost 2, precisely, both to Bear Creek Express. First game of the year, Riley Mannion came out guns blazing under the nighttime lights in Simcoe. And then, of course, Sean Cleary picked up a win over the Gremlins in the winter bracket semifinal.
On the ground, strong throw, and in time from Thomas Baker to get Walushka, who runs well.
Looked like he almost lost his footing here. Got it back and dug out well at first, too, by Jeff Lyons.
Lyons did make a nice play over there. And here is two-time Team Canada World Cup player, World Championship player. Now it's known as the World Cup. Everything's the World Cup now.
Everything is indeed the World Cup. Blake Hunter, a new dad.
Congratulations to him. As you well know, sir, you can think about it. You can try to prepare yourself mentally.
Nothing gets you ready for it.
There's no handbook for it. And this is a good battle in Mannion. Fouled off by Blake Hunter.
And if he learned anything from Cleary and Schofield, it has to be how to keep the emotions under control. We'll see Sean Cleary tomorrow, and you'll never see Sean waving his arms or flapping at the umpire. And these are things that, the little things about being a pro that Riley Mannion can learn from Cleary and Schofield, and surrounding himself with the like of Brandon Horn and Tyler Paulai, who's we noted is now 28 years old, startlingly.
Happens quickly. The full count to Blake Hunter. 2 out. Plenty of late movement. And Mannion off to a nice start on night number 2 of the Canadian Senior Men's Softball Championship in South Surrey. The Bear Creek Express, one of the Ontario entries, and they're all good teams here. Toronto, off to a great start. They were the finalists last year in St. John's, Newfoundland, and they're off to a perfect start. The Niagara Stompers are unbeaten from Ontario, and so is the Bear Creek Express. Brandon Horn, in the national team player pool, has played for his country in a world championship. And Brandon Horn, the shortstop, leading off for Bear Creek, facing Brady Woods. And Brady's had a lot of action in the last 24 hours. The 36-year-old as the host Sook Loggers have had a difficult schedule and trying to win their first game. Top 4 teams in each group, the red and black groups, will advance to Saturday's playoffs, 8 of the 13. Top 2 in each group will have an extra life entering the playoffs.
Well, Sook, I think at this point, Peter, can probably write off the extra life. They are life and death to make the playoffs right now.
One thing about Blair Setford, the later in the day, the better his lines get, and I dig it. What a treat to work with this fine gentleman. I call him the voice of men's fast pitch in North America. And just happy that he has me along for the ride.
Well, it's precisely the opposite here, my friend, and right back at you. The privilege is mine here to be working with you this week.
We're having a great time. Brandon Horn, still giggling after that line in the last game.
Brandon Horn is, and we talked about this earlier, a ball player's ball player. Mm-hmm. When you talk about guys who do all the little things the right way, just watch the way that Brandon Horn carries himself around the park, on the field, in his at-bats, on his defense especially. He does all the little things right.
High in the air. And the catch made by Leland, who is playing in place of the injured Kevin Schellenberg, who was hit on the hand with a pitch in last night's game against the Toronto Batmen. And Dean Leland starting at short again tonight and records out number 1. Brady Woods in his 11th inning of work in the last 2 evenings. 17 strikeouts, walked 3, given up 5 runs on 6 hits. And when he has been good, he's been really good. And the home run ball has hurt him. Gave up a 2-run blast, Adam Alexander, in the loss where they led 5-2 and 5-3 going to the 7th and couldn't hold it. And then gave up a couple earlier today in their setback at the hands of the red-hot Grand Prairie Pirates.
Pirates brought their hitting shoes today. They rung up some on the Loggers and then just pasted the Surrey Rebels 14-1.
Tyler Paulai, the batter. Remember watching him in the 2014 World Junior Men's Championship. All of a sudden, 28.
Already has 2 ISC World Tournament batting titles to his credit. Looking to add a Canadian championship.
That is good company when you're thrown around in that wheelhouse. And was one of them not in 2022?
21.
21.
Yeah. 21 and I want to say 18.
Well, Pauli goes down swinging. And strikeout number 18 of the tournament for Brady Woods in his first of the night. And if anybody has a spare light and is near the press box, I would take it. On the ground and a couple of hops, and Clint Taylor stays with it. So a good start for Brady Woods. A 1-2-3 inning, and we've played one in the nightcap on night number 2 of the Canadian Senior Men's Softball Championship. Top of the second inning. Both pitchers off to a nice start. The 1-2-3 innings for both Riley Mannion of Bear Creek and Brady Woods of the Sook Loggers. And Brian Avery heated up. Had a couple of extra base hits in the setback to Grand Prairie. A longtime member of the Canadian national men's team. There isn't anything that this gentleman hasn't been a part of when it comes to wins in this sport. He's from Richmond, British Columbia.
I wonder if he's chasing his first Canadian championship.
I would say yes.
I think that's the only thing that might be eluding him at this point, would be a Canadian championship. He's got plenty of U.S. nationals. He's got
I think
a
7
World
of
Cup.
them, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere in that number.
That's pretty close, yeah. He's got 3 ISC World Championships now,
including the most recent one.
But I'm not sure if he's got a Canadian. I mean, it's because I don't think he's played with Newfoundland. It's been exclusively their domain, other than one interruption in 2017 with Nova Scotia. And I'm pretty sure Avery was not with Nova Scotia that year.
No, he does have one. He was part of that Vancouver Grey Sox team in 2007.
And those were the Grey Sox.
Yes, Blair, they were gray. And one of those Grey Sox national champions just went down swinging. I'm going to start calling you Gray for a nickname as a result of all the barbs I've been dealing with. Derek Mason, by the way, another 2007 Canadian Senior Men Vancouver Grey Sox. You know what you learn later in life? Is when you're doing hundreds of events, even for me, it can be sometimes a lot.
They all blend together, it seems like. I'm astounded, though, because in all the years that I've been listening to you,
Derek Mason, high enough? Is it deep enough? Not quite.
Hit the bottom of it, not the back of it. And about 248 feet for Derek Mason.
So a strikeout and a long flyout off of Riley Mannion as Derek Mason just missed his first home run of this Canadian championship. And there's 2 down for Kyle Cowick. Cowick up the middle. Good play to range over for Brandon Horn, but not in a position to make the play. And Cowick has another base hit. He was involved in a play that could have given Sook a win against Grand Prairie. He was robbed of a home run by Patrick Burns, who had to reach over the fence to take a home run away earlier this afternoon. So the first hit of the game, period, belongs to Kyle Cowick. And Clint Taylor, who had a couple of hits, his first 2 of this Canadian championship earlier today, comes to bat.
You get a good look there at Riley Mannion, minus the Fu Manchu that he had been rocking most of the summer.
Taylor is feeling good at the dish.
Yeah, he's had a better day today than he did last night, where he just wasn't making contact last night.
And his 2 base hits today were both with authority. Nice drop in on the hands from Mannion. It is getting late. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Taylor is fooled. He wanted to know if it would have been a called strike or a swinging strike. It was a strike. Mannion with 2 more strikeouts. Has 4 in the game. Did give up a hit. But we're still looking for the game's first run in a key round-robin matchup on day 2 at Softball City. Travis Jones to lead things off for Bear Creek. Facing Brady Woods, who had a 1-2-3. Bottom of the first, a bunt attempt by Jones. Surprise bunt. A big thank you to one of Team Canada's scouts. Just went and got us a light.
Mm-hmm.
Very appreciative. Travis Jones. Jones 3 for 6 and has already driven in 3 runs. I bet you can guess who leads Bear Creek and runs batted in, Blair.
Gonna guess Quentin Bruce.
That's who it is. 2 home runs and 6 runs batted in for a great hitter. Was blown away by Quentin at the World Championship.
He is a phenomenal young player. Had a year of all years last year in 2022. We'll save that for when he comes back up.
Pretty well hit, but right at Matthew Waugh for out number 1 of the bottom of the second inning.
I think Matthew had to move a step.
Maybe. It's well hit.
Travis Jones didn't get a lot of playing time in Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago, but right in the middle of the lineup here, and he's a good option to have and to use.
Third baseman, Thomas Baker. A juggling act by Clint Taylor, and might have rushed it a little more than maybe he had to.
Yeah, I think when he bobbled it there, he didn't realize he had as much time as he did.
Because he did a really good job to stay with this ball. And it looked, upon second glance, I don't think he had a good grip of it, Blair.
No,
Seemed to slip down in his hand.
Yeah, tried to barehand it and pulled Derek Mason off the bag.
So the first base runner is Jeff Lyons. And now it's Thomas Baker. And Woods had good movement on that pitch and just missed. Thomas Baker played for Waterdown at the ISC tournament. Came to an end very recently in Denmark, Wisconsin. Up the middle, Taylor for 1. Leland not in time. And Taylor redeems himself in a sense. This is not an easy play on the hot shot off the bat of Baker.
Ranging over to his right on the backhand, and a nice easy toss too for Dean Leland. Baker runs well. He was on that U23 team down in Paraná in Argentina.
And a healthy cut from Nick Moore, the catcher.
Nick's from Ponsonby, Ontario. Played the Waterdown Hammer on the tournament circuit this year. He's an OPP officer back at home. Don't be speeding.
Or saying any. I love you, Nick.
He's too smart to fall for that.
I knew he'd get a chuckle, so nice work behind home plate by Cowick. Or make that Blake Hunter. It was Cowick this afternoon behind home plate. It is Blake Hunter tonight, number 12.
Straight up the elevator shaft.
And Derek Mason does a nice job to stay with it. It was moving all over the place. Inning over. 2 in the books. No score at Softball City. Riley Mannion set to face shortstop Dean Leland. Leland with some more playing time with the injury, unfortunately, to 42-year-old Kevin Schellenberg. One for three in the tournament. And a good cut at that, and fouled it straight back off Riley Mannion, who has 4 strikeouts to his credit tonight. Just 1 hit in the game.
He's really got good movement tonight. He's getting a lot of swing and misses, not even foul balls right now.
That's a great point. That's a great indication of just how well he's throwing. Brandon Horn, and that doesn't happen a whole lot.
No, that was a little slow roller that might have gone off the glove of Mannion, I'm not sure, but it certainly took its time getting out to Brandon and almost basically did overplay it. It didn't hit the glove and just didn't get down enough.
Well, that's going to be an error. And Leland on base on the error to Brandon Horn. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it's the first leadoff batter that they've been able to get aboard.
Cowick had the lone hit in this game, as Jesse Grieve looks to lay down a bunt and fouled it back. Jesse Grieve, 32 years of age, was 1 for 13 at last year's Canadian. He's played in 5 of them, so no stranger. Bit of a delayed signal from the home plate umpire, but there was little doubt, certainly even in Jesse's mind, that that was a strike.
Yeah, he definitely stabbed at it. It's Justin Van Horn from Ontario behind the plate. Tony Kaliza, Manitoba, is out at first. And Kearney O'Keefe, Newfoundland and Labrador, is our third base umpire tonight. She is actually over in behind second right now.
I love that more women are getting involved at this level.
Fantastic to see it.
Fouled back, good swing by Grieve, whose hit last year, in case you're scoring at home, came against the host Coolbet hitman. Not to be confused with the Galway hitman.
It's very Canadian of them to share names.
It sure is. You'd think they were the Rough Riders. And Jesse Grieve has a grievance in his own mind.
I see what you did there.
Thank you. Strikeout number 5 for Mannion. Blair, I can't think that it's easy on a right-handed batter against Riley with that kind of around the horn type motion.
He's throwing a little hook to his drop ball, and it's tailing away from the righties. I saw that earlier on one of the called strikes that he got as well. I think it was on, might have been on Avery. He got a strike called.
Because to a right-handed batter, wouldn't always be easy to see it by the time he's wrapped it around, comes back to the front, and then releases it.
Yeah, well, you're looking for the drop spin. You're not expecting that to also tail away.
Back to the top of the order, and Matthew Waugh struck out to open the game. And that finds, I thought, the outside corner, but I don't have a vote, and nor should I. But that didn't miss by very much. We are a little off the plate from our vantage point.
I'm glad you finished that sentence.
Thank you. And when Matthew Waugh sends the ball to where he just did, you know Riley Mannion has some pace.
Yeah, he's picking his spots right now. He's working Matthew away. We'll see if he busts him in here, if Nick Moore chooses to go inside.
See if he goes drop in.
Back out again.
Drop out.
Yeah, just couldn't hang on to it. If he hangs on to that, he's out of the inning.
Yeah, Nick Moore couldn't quite hang on as the count remains at 1 ball and 2 strikes on Matthew Waugh. 34 years of age. He'll turn 35 on December the 21st. He's from Saint-Gervais, Quebec. And lays off the rise in tight.
Matthew played for me in 2011, finished up the Canadian Championship, got on a plane with Joel Langford. The two of them flew down to Moline, Illinois, played for our Toronto Gators team, finished 3rd in ISC 2 that year. Matthew was all tournament and went on to bigger and better things with the New York Gremlins the following year.
And Waugh had a good swing at that pitch. (2013, 2015, 17, 19, and 22 World Championships that he has participated in. His last home run of the Canadian Senior Men's Championship came on this date in the year 2018 off the Boulier Rustlers.
My good friends in Boulier.
Great drop. And a second strikeout of Matthew Waugh on the evening for Riley Mannion. That was a great at-bat to just sit back and watch.
He was a lot closer with the changeup, the pitch before, and then just came back and rocked in the drop ball. It just fell off the table.
Walushka, the batter, on the ground to Horn, goes to his knees and shovels to end the inning. Riley Mannion has his A game on night number 2 of the Canadian Championship. Still looking for the game's first run. It's 0-2, the host Sook Loggers, taking on the 2-0 Bear Creek Express in the final game of the evening here on Diamond number 1. Final day of the round robin goes tomorrow. The playoffs set to begin on Saturday. We'll crown a champion on Sunday.
Some real good games to come tomorrow that will decide those double lives at the top of both the red pool and the black pool. Toronto Batmen 3-0 and looking pretty good on the black pool side. Bear Creek Express looking to join them in the undefeated group.
Designated player Scott Lelis does well to check his swing on the rise ball from Brady Woods.
Scott's been with the Elmira Expos for last few years.
Leland, one out. Handled that little short hop at the end very nicely.
Good contact from Scott. Hit it hard, but just happened to be right at Dean Leland, who, as you've said, has played very well coming on in relief for Kevin Schellenberg.
Noah Baker in the number 9 spot in the lineup. He is 1 for 4 in the tournament.
Younger brother of Thomas. Noah also with the Waterdown Hammer on the tournament circuit this summer. And there's Carol Dureste, our action camera operator, all bundled up for the Vancouver winter.
She's the best. If you don't like her, as I like to say, you don't like people. What a lovely couple, Luciano and Carol. Just celebrated their 10th anniversary. I think my first marriage lasted about 10 minutes.
I love the fact that they spent it with all of the softball world the last 2 years.
What a commitment they've made to this sport. Lucky to have them.
Derek Mason did his best sell job there to try and keep that ball, at least sell it as a fair ball, but Justin Van Horn not having it.
And Brandon Horn trying to reach base. There's been times that Brady Woods has had a bit of an issue with that left elbow area, but you'd never know it again tonight. Thought he painted the corner with that one, and Blake Hunter held it as long as he could to try to frame it for a strike. A ball and 2 strikes to Brandon Horn, looking for his 3rd hit of the tournament. He is 2 for 6 so far. Was 3 for 14 at the ISC World Tournament. And just missed that. There is head coach of the Canadian men's national team, John Stewart. Terrific human. Country has been very lucky to have him at the helm for a long time. Les Howie right beside him. Got a picture of it earlier when Les was talking to Rob Ginter. And that one I'm filing away in my photos.
Yeah, Rob Ginter, a legendary Canadian pitcher. There's Les Howie.
There he is. Pails. Loves the game. And a base hit for Horn. That's a quality at bat for another one of those professional type hitters.
The second time through the order, everybody's had a look at Brady Woods.
And again, a very left-handed heavy lineup at the top. Tyler Pauli. Change up, got around on it. Hands out in front a little bit.
Tyler's dad, Jeff, is the third base coach for the Bear Creek Express. Good player in his own right. The Mitchell Mets back in the day. Still plays with the Waterloo Jack Slammers in the Legends division.
What a great name, the Jack Slammers.
Well, paying some tribute there to Jack Fireman and Slammin' Sammy Forbes.
Jack Fireman, of course, the owner of the Toronto Gators team that was an absolute powerhouse in the early 90s. Horn on the run, and he'll steal it. The ball goes in to the outfield.
And a nice cross body block by Dean Leland, who takes out Brandon Horn at the bag and make sure he doesn't get up to advance.
Yeah, there wasn't anywhere for him to go.
Crushed him at the bag.
Oof. It's a tough ball for Blake Hunter to deal with. It almost sailed over his head.
Yeah, picked a good pitch to run.
Two balls and two strikes, and a go-ahead run in scoring position. And the umpire needs to clean that bag off so he can see it. Talked about all the clay that they added to the diamond.
Yeah, 15-foot by 6-foot slab out in front of the pitching board to withstand the beating that the men put on. And it's not just the men anymore. The women are hopping more and more, too. They talked about doing the batters boxes for next year for the World Tournament that will be held here. Just a top-notch facility here, Softball City, Softball Canada making a great decision to bring the tournament here. And as you've said, the first time in the Metro Vancouver area, never been here before.
Ever.
BC has hosted it a few times, Victoria, up the highway in Prince George, east of here in Kelowna once, I believe.
Kelowna's got a great ballpark. And Paul, I thought he'd drawn a walk. Umpire Van Horn said, "Not on my watch." Here's another peek.
Framed up very nicely by Blake Hunter, but he is moving to his left to catch it.
Strikeout is the call. And after 3, it remains 0-0, Bear Creek and the Sook Loggers.
Cowick with the single right back up the middle. Brandon Horn picked up back of the bag, but no chance to get Kyle Cowick on that play.
That was the first hit for Sook. The Avery triple, just the second. It's only been 3 hits in total in the game. This is high-level men's softball, just the way I like it. 2 good teams. Off the glove, and Cowick with his second hit. It's a run batted in, and he hustles in safely to second. And the Sook Loggers have broken out on top.
That's a big, important run for the Sook Loggers. Kyle Cowick just going with the pitch. Takes it out to left field. Takes advantage of the high infield hop that he got, too.
Kyle Cowick, a difference maker. 2 for 2 and a run batted in. And Sook strikes first. And still just 1 out. No activity yet, but I won't be surprised to see some start down the line, and I think it's about to occur right now. It is on the Bear Creek side of the equation. Clint Taylor, a chance to cash in maybe a couple more. Second baseman, 27 years of age, has already had more hits in this tournament than he did in last year's. Can he drive in a couple? Takes a strike.
Lefty Reese Yancey is up in the bullpen.
Always excited to have my first opportunity to watch a good young player in person. Watched on video. Haven't seen Yancey yet outside of 2 pitches this morning on our way into the park. And I said to you as we were walking in today, who's that? And then you go, that's Reese. And I went, well, all right. I'm buying. And he's left-handed. And Clint Taylor goes down swinging.
Got the changeup in for a strike. Did Mannion. Taylor out in front.
And Dean Leland, the shortstop, looking to keep it alive. Cowick has driven in the game's first run and is at second base. Can always tell when the team in the field thinks it's a strike because you hear from about all 9 of them.
All the part-time umpires.
Swing and a miss is Mannion looking to bear down in a difficult but important spot.
Moore doesn't feel they're on the same page with the signals, so that's why Van Horn is accompanying them out to ensure that that's all we're talking about. If it's something else, it'll be deemed a defensive conference. Looks like we're all good.
And that's all in an effort to speed the game up.
It's part of the effort to exactly speed the game up, because what you used to see was the catcher going out every other pitch. And now you're permitted 1 of those per inning.
Mannion knocks it down, flips over. Sook on the board. They get to Mannion for a run, and they'll head to the diamond defensively with the game's first lead. It's 1-0 Loggers going to the bottom of the 4th. Quentin Bruce leads it off. Was 8 for 16 at the ISC World Tournament. Couple of doubles, a home run, 6 runs batted in. Has 2 home runs and 6 runs batted in here. This guy's a world-class player.
Let's talk about Quentin Bruce in 2022 just for a moment. All-American at the USA National Championship. All-World at the ISC World Tournament. All-Canadian here at the Canadian Nationals. With Canada at the World Cup. Leading hitter in All-World at the World Cup.
This is carrying. It's going to tie the game on cue.
On cue. I see what you did there. Quentin Bruce. And the future is unlimited for Quentin Bruce. He just continues to impress night after night, game after game. And a nice kid to boot, too.
Home run number 3 of this Canadian Championship for Quentin Bruce. And he's done it again. He's one of those athletes in Canadian team sports that I go, thank goodness he has the right passport.
Well, he is a special player.
Was not all that familiar with him until the World Championships. And then couldn't take my eyes off him. He had 11 hits.
You kept waiting for the clock to strike midnight, and it never did. And he's a young player, and sometimes it happens. Guys are flashes in the pan. You've seen that so many times in your illustrious career over the years. But he's got all the tools, and he's got the right mental makeup, too. He's very humble about it. He knows what he's done, but he's very, very humble about it.
He's a star. Cowick knocks it down and taps on the bag before Travis Jones can get to it, as Quentin Bruce has tied the game with a solo shot, and it's been the long ball that has hurt Brady Woods in all 3 games.
Yeah, he's not giving up singles.
Only given up a couple of hits prior to that one.
The fact that you said Kyle Cowick twigged me to the fact that Derek Maceman must be down warming up, and indeed he is. He is in the right field bullpen.
Yeah, because Cowick's now at first base. Brady Woods works inside. Jeff Lyons is the batter. What can you tell me about Jeff?
Jeff Lyons, school teacher, London, Ontario, has a knack for coming up big in big situations.
And was trying to hit that to the trees. Oh, it's almost empty. We're good, but nice hands, Blair. Showing me that you're a pretty good player in your own right back in the day.
I could pick it up. Throwing was always an issue.
What about hitting?
I was a very good hitter for my weight class. Let's call it that.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Never played at the high end.
Woods asking if that pitch was up. He thought he had strike 3.
Here you can see the ground getting a little pockmarked out there. And that's a good at-bat by Jeff Lyons. Just showed some patience, as you said, tried to hit one of the trees, took a swing for himself, but after that, some good looks. And he'll get a pinch runner. Robbie Black will make his way out.
Thomas Baker. Quentin Bruce has tied the game with a solo homer after Sook took the lead on a Kyle Cowick RBI in the top of the inning. Baker played for Waterdown at the ISC World Tournament. Was 1 for 5 in the event. Waterdown went 1 and 2 in that tournament.
They beat Ostrander from Minnesota in their first game. Ran into Circle Tap, I believe, and then were unfortunate to have to face JB in the losers bracket right away. JB getting upset by RM Kurtz, and JB went on a run through the losers bracket to make it to Final Friday.
I have one request for the ISC. Well, I might have a couple, but I have one. And I'll talk about it in a second. Almost handcuffed Leland. Good slide at second to prevent any opportunity to turn over the double play. On the website, when you name the teams in the ISC, I would love just a little parentheses as to where those teams are from.
On the brackets, you mean? Is that what?
Well, just on the team names. So when you look and I see Marchio Sausage, it doesn't say, like even Ostrander. I know they're the Norsemen, but I didn't know they were from Minnesota. And maybe they all do have it there somewhere.
I think it's the familiarity that a lot of the people on the circuit have, but the casual fan, not that you are a casual fan, and this is good instruction for us. I just know it intuitively.
Of course.
But not everybody does, so
No,
we'll have to
don't.
recognize that.
No, they don't.
No, it's a good point.
And it's not really a criticism. It's just, again, there are, like you, when it comes to all the top groups, I know where they're all from, but there are some, in that, what I would call that 15 to 30 wheelhouse that you're not always sure of.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a great point.
And on your one page, it does show everything. It is, like when I was following along in the World Tournament, it wasn't always easy to get to those spots.
Yeah, the game changer, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's a good point. I thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Such a great product. Just always want everybody to know. A strikeout for Brady Woods. But he gives up a game-tying home run to none other than Quentin Bruce. His third of the Canadians. 7th RBI. It's 1-1 after 4. We've got a good one. We expected it, and it has delivered. The nightcap seemed to be the best time to be at the park in terms of good games. We had a great one last night. 6-5. Sook lost in an extra inning to the Toronto Batmen, and here we are again in a 1-1 tie going to the fifth as both teams scored runs in the fourth. Riley Mannion back to work against Jesse Grieve, who struck out in his last at-bat. Two balls and no strikes. And a swing and a miss. Mannion, so far in the game, has recorded 7 strikeouts. Almost just for a second, Blair thought he might have got a piece of Jesse Grieve with that pitch, but he did not.
Got a called strike out of it.
So obviously he didn't hit him. And fouled it back. Well, our replays showed that it did look like it.
It was very close, yeah. It almost
Must have got a piece of the bat.
Yeah.
Instead of just the arm. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Not a plethora of hits tonight. More than what's on the scoreboard, but I think only one more. Horn ranging back. Thought that was almost going to slip out of the bottom of his glove.
Yeah, he didn't get that in the webbing, did he?
Didn't seem like it. Grieve.
Just seemed to squeeze it and pull it down.
Did a nice job. And here's Matthew Waugh, who's looking for an answer against Riley Mannion.
Well, don't be surprised if he finds one here. Matthew Waugh, famous for going back, studiously analyzing every pitch, every at-bat.
We saw him in a similar situation earlier today. Drop down a bunt.
Well, Brandon Horn is no stranger. He is about 11 feet in front of the third base bag. Lyons is a little further back.
So they've made a switch defensively, obviously, because Horn started the game, did he not, at shortstop?
He did.
And that is definitely Brandon at third now. Lifted in the air by Waugh. And the play made out in left.
Zach Berg now at short.
So it was him that made the play. And even on the ball that he made the play on, immediately I thought, that's not exactly the same frame as Brandon Horn. So Horn indeed is at third now. We are not lucky enough to be close to the official score, and you can't really necessarily hear the changes.
I think he's gone in for Thomas Baker. Zach Berg has.
Because Baker was at third and Horn was at short, definitely, I think, prior to this inning, for sure. So a little switch is Chris Walushka. The batter with 2 out, the change up. Fouls it away. Will it fall fair? Not quite. Close.
Didn't miss by much.
No. It's actually ended up being a little closer than I thought it was going to be. And Sook thinks it's a lot closer than maybe even I do. Maybe we'll get another peek at it. Just curious. The bat left by Walushka on its end. I had to take a double take.
No, I don't think we've got a second look at that one, but it was definitely foul.
It was, for sure.
Kearney O'Keefe was 12 feet away from that. She was right on top of it. I think they've been waiting for the dry ball to come back in.
The 1-2 to Walushka. Struck out swinging. To the bottom of the fifth and a 1-1 tie in the final game of the day. Day 2 of the Senior Men's Canadian Championship. Derek Mason takes the ball. He is now pitched in all 3 games. Sook used 3 pitchers in their first 2, and who knows, we might see Tyson Barkman before the end of the night. Brady Woods gave them 4 good innings. Only blemish, the Quentin Bruce home run that tied the game in the bottom of the 4th.
It's been the long ball, Peters, you've said, that has been the nemesis for Brady Woods here over the last couple of days.
But on the whole, I think you have to be really pleased with what he's done.
Well, that's a great outing from Brady Woods to hold this team down to just the 1 run. Very similar teams. Top of the order is stacked. Good defensively. Pitching by committee.
Mason not the only change. Defensively is finds the strike zone again against Scott Lelis. Grounded out to short, where Kevin Schellenberg is now in play, and Dean Leland shifts over from short to second. Clint Taylor out of the game. That was not a popular decision on the Bear Creek side of the equation.
Justin Van Horn does both high-level softball as well as baseball. One of the few umps to do crossover.
Just about takes a bite out of Noah Baker. 0 for 1 in the game. And Mason had good snap and movement on that drop. Drop, rise, change, and different variations. Really 3 key pitches in this sport.
Yeah, you'll see the curveball a little bit. Riley Mannion throwing a little bit of one. Some guys will throw it more often than others. Typically, you really only throw that pitch, the curveball, to righties if you're a right-handed pitcher.
Popped up. Playable for Avery, and no trouble. And Mason comes in and gets a couple of quick outs as Baker pops up to the third baseman.
You see how quickly Brian Avery took charge of that play to Blake Hunter immediately backed off. Avery very sure-handed it to any position that he plays.
Brandon Horn, a change-up from his former national team teammate, Derek Mason. Horn singled his last time, and Mason comes over.
Who says you can't have fun playing this game?
Well, you should. We're not saving lives here. Good inning for Mason, 1, 2, 3. In relief of Brady Woods to the 6th. We might be headed for, I'm not going to say it.
Oh, you got us to it the last time you said that.
It's a good point by you. We'll take a break and be back. Chilly night, but an excellent ball game to cap off the day, day number 2. Play will start again tomorrow here at 9:30. Blake Hunter has a couple of runs batted in. 0 for 2 tonight. Struck out and flew out. His 2 times up. The product of Nanaimo, British Columbia. Rips it. And Quentin Bruce didn't even have to move.
He literally did not move.
Might as well have gone and handed it to him.
He stuck his glove up. It was the only thing he had to do. Watch this. That is as casual as you get for a smashed line drive.
That was like playing catch with someone.
It reminds me of those long-distance passes that Tom Brady would make from a boat to somebody on another boat. Just right to them.
A well-hit liner right at Quentin Bruce. And there's one away. Brian Avery held back on the rise from Mannion, who has put forth another fine performance.
Well, this is where he ran into trouble in the fourth. Avery, Mason, Cowick.
Cowick has driven in the only run. It came in that very inning. Avery, with a triple, has scored the only Sook run tonight. Boy, Grand Prairie put up a 14 spot. I see.
Yeah, they actually trailed in that game 1-0 for about a millisecond.
So they've had a great day. And Riley Mannion with a big strikeout on Avery.
Well, that was the changeup again here. Well, maybe not. Maybe it was just a drop ball in the outside corner. It looked like I thought he took a little bit off of it, but maybe not.
Might have. Derek Mason, now the pitcher. Two out. There's the change.
There's the change up indeed, and he's dialing that into the strike zone a little bit more now. And we talked about that at the beginning of the game, that was going to need to be the case for that to be an effective pitch for him.
You have so many viewings of this young pitcher. But as I continue to watch, and I'll just lay this out, is being able to throw that pitch more consistently what might make him a national team member.
If you can perfect your three pitches and spot them where you need to at all times. You look at what Sean Cleary does, throws any pitch at any time. That's what Riley Mannion's got to aspire to. He's a lot closer tonight.
1, 2, 3. Facing 3, 4, 5 in the order. It's the Express trying to get on one with the bats in the bottom half of the inning. Well, if you're in the park tonight, if you're watching on Softball Premier Television, you've been treated to an excellent game of men's fast pitch softball. 1-1 between 0-2, the host, Sook Loggers, one of 5 British Columbia entries in this 13-team event, and the 2-0 Bear Creek Express out of Ontario. Derek Mason in his second inning of relief. And it was in the circle where I was most interested to watch him, going way back to the years 2006, 2007. Because a lot of the talk was at that point in our country about him maybe being the next one in the circle.
Well, Derek's been the complete package for his whole career. Has been able to not just pitch at the highest levels, but also be among the game's elite in the batter's box.
And you don't have to spend a lot of time watching Derek Mason to know what a competitor he is.
Oh, yeah.
If he played tiddlywinks on the parking lot outside the park, I'm not sure you'd get much difference in terms of wanting to win. And you know him far better than I do. But that's always been my impression from afar.
Oh, very intense, but also very studious about it, very cerebral too. He's always taken the mental part of the game just as seriously as the physical side.
Well, he's doing a lot of interesting work off the field that I've had a chance on a couple of occasions to talk to him about as he's trying to use all that great expertise and the smarts that you've talked about.
Well, you listened to one of the podcasts that he did, and I can't remember if it was, I think it may have been Outside the Chute. There's so many excellent episodes with that one, and Dust Up, and Twos Talk, and Beyond the Dugout. There's been so many great podcasts, but, that one's up and into Quentin Bruce.
Well, Quentin Bruce is the reason this game is tied. He did so with his third home run, a solo shot in the fourth, and hope he's going to be okay. Trying to shake it off.
Looked like it got him on the elbow guard. Maybe just above it. Flexing that right arm, which is the lead arm as a right-handed batter. He's just got one of the small elbow guards.
Trying to shake it off.
But just to finish that thought, Derek talked about the mental prep that he had to put in it to get back onto the national team because he was left off in 2013.
Won a world championship in 2015.
And was a huge part of it, too.
He was. As you know, you were there for it. Still mad at myself for not making my way to my hometown to watch it.
I heard the broadcast was pretty good, but nothing like being there in person.
Nothing. You had a moment that I had always dreamed about in my hometown. Watching my country win a world championship in this sport.
It was something, and I give a lot of credit to Jim Flanagan, who called a great game and leaned over to me with a couple of outs to go, and he said, when they win it, I'm going to say something, and then I'm going to point to you, and gave me the opportunity to say what I did.
High fly. Tagging is Bruce. He is, without question, what you would call in any sport with a bat and a ball a 5-tool player. There isn't anything he can't do.
And he's still flexing that right hand right now. Must have got him a little bit lower down on the arm below the guard, but that's a heads-up play because a lot of guys could just sulk at first base after they got hit and say, I'm not going to tag up. But Quentin Bruce tags up on a regulation depth fly ball to left field and legs it out and up into scoring position.
Jesse Grieve unable to throw him out. But what that does, you just put yourself in scoring position to be the winning run in the game. Those are the little things that help you win games like this.
That's why you're a national team player. That's how you get on to national teams. When you are somebody looking at Quentin Bruce as a young player coming up, those are the kind of plays that you have to make, where your head is in the ball game at all times.
He is really rubbing that right wrist area is what it looks like.
He's working that hard. They've just given the intentional walk to Jeff Lyons. They're going to pitch to Zach Berg, it looks like, who is going to head back to the bench. And are they bringing Thomas Baker back now?
Well, there goes Lyons. The free pass. The base open. Bottom of the sixth, then a 1-1 tie. Bear Creek trying to remain perfect. They have a chance to move to 3-0. The Toronto Batmen lead their group with a record of 4-0.
Trying to see who they're bringing in.
The lights on the field are terrific here, but it isn't always easy to recognize, especially jerseys with the dark on dark. Dallas Kipfer comes in.
Another member of that U23 team. Dallas is also on the Waterdown Hammer during the tournament circuit.
Well, and he had a healthy cut at the first pitch for Dallas Kipfer.
Dallas runs a softball academy, I guess, if you will. It's a facility that he operates in Kitchener as an instructor. He's got a lot of young proteges coming along.
Love that. Trying to hit Derek Mason out of here. He is 0 for 2 so far in the tournament. Two out. The go-ahead run at second. Change up. Trouble. Base hit. 2-1 Bear Creek on a pinch hit. RBI bloop single off the bat of Dallas Kipfer off the fists.
Did a good job of just taking the pitch he was given. Mason got a little bit too much at the plate with the changeup on an 0-2 pitch. Probably wanted that down a little bit more than it was.
A 2-strike single on a change-up. Well, there's a quality coaching move that pays huge dividends. Is Quentin Bruce raced in. Now, ball gets away from Blake Hunter, and that allows Kipfer, who runs well. He's in scoring position too. That's not always favorable. You can't see it on your screen, but ripped. Here comes two more. And Nick Moore has broken it open with a 2-run single in the bottom of the sixth. And it's 4-1 Bear Creek. Clutch hitting. The last off the bat of the catcher.
I guess they brought the police lights out special just for Nick Moore, the OPP officer there.
And didn't bother him one iota.
And Peter, you said you wouldn't have seen it on the shot, but out beyond the center field scoreboard, a couple of police cars pulled into the parking lot with the lights flashing just as Nick Moore stepped into the box. It's not the greatest hitter's backdrop having flashing lights.
Didn't seem to bother him. That was in on Lelis, almost hit him as he swung. We'll have to see, by the way, if Quentin Bruce goes back into the field after being hit with a pitch and scored the first of the 3 runs.
Not a lot of substitutes left on the bench. Kirk Santala, Mac Mulvey, the only 2 left. Reese Yancey, you're going to save him in case you need him to pitch.
Blair, we talked about it. How key now, when you think about how this inning is unfolded, was his play to tag on a ball to left field to put him in scoring position.
Absolutely. Big part of this inning.
Critical. And Mason with the strikeout on Lelis. Bear Creek. They do ride the batting train to 3 runs. And the Express 3 outs away from going 3-0 at the Canadian Senior Men's Championship. Well, you take a look at Nick Moore. He drove in 2 of the 3, the catcher, as he makes his way back into position. 3 runs for Bear Creek in the bottom of the 6th, and 3 outs away from winning their 3rd and handing the Sook Loggers a 3rd difficult loss, Blair. You can't really play much better than they have in their first 3 games and come away with nothing.
It's been a very difficult start to the tournament for the Sook Loggers. You go back to this time last night, leading the Toronto Batmen late. Batmen rally to tie in the bottom. This morning, Grand Prairie, or this afternoon, I guess. It felt like morning, but it was really early afternoon.
Have we gone home yet since we got here? Kyle Cowick has driven in the only run for Sook. He gave Sook the Loggers a 1-0 lead in the top of the 4th. Been a whale of a game tonight. Maybe not quite the drama, at least not yet, of last night's 6-5 extra inning win for Toronto over Sook, but I think when you describe how you'd like to see the game played at a very high level, I'd put this one right there with any we've seen so far.
Well, some clutch hitting. We had a big home run. We've had a couple of really nice fielding plays.
Great pitching.
Outstanding pitching on both sides. Change up, Kyle Cowick can only wave at it, and that's the pitch right there that can differentiate Riley Mannion.
I teed you up on it, and I'm feeling stronger about it all the time, and that is if he can start to get that pitch in on a regular basis, I think he has a chance to be in that world-class type level. But again, I need more viewings. That's strikeout number 10. Tough hop on Pauli.
Boy, that was a real strange kick that ball took. It's almost like it either hit something or, look at that, it just took a right-hand turn on Tyler Pauli, and he tried to rush the throw, but wow, that came out of nowhere.
Did it ever? And because it forced him so much to the right, the reason the throw's offline is you're so off balance.
Yeah, no,
and Barkman runs well as he came in to pinch hit. Tyson Barkman. Is Dean Leland trying to keep Sook alive, down 3 in the top of the 7th. And this is well hit into a gap. And Leland has an RBI double, and we're not going home yet. Good piece of hitting from Dean Leland.
Yeah, at the very least, you're going to have to face Matthew Waugh this inning. If you're an Express fan, you would have liked to get through this without turning the batting order over, but that strange hop on Barkman pinch hitting and then an excellent hit by Dean Leland.
This a critical at-bat if you're Bear Creek.
And that is a good twist by Jesse Grieve right on that offering from Riley Mannion.
Trying to close it. The work has been excellent to this point for Mannion. Can he shut the door?
Good pitch. Drop on the inside corner right under the hands of Jesse Grieve.
There's only one pitch right now I'm not throwing. I'm not throwing Jesse Grieve a changeup. And I'm not throwing him anything in the zone either.
No, you shouldn't be thinking change to the 9 batter. You should be thinking your best pitch right here. That drop again on the inside corner would be outstanding.
And out of the zone.
Yeah, buried under the hands if you go in. Well, they went rise ball up, and he had a good hack at it. It's the same pitch he fouled back the first time. I would stay down, make him keep it on the ground. Paddy Shannon, who was a pretty good catcher from New Zealand, used to tell me, when in doubt, mate, down and out.
I like that. Yeah, he was okay at the sport. In the air, this is not an easy play, but it's made.
You talk about a snow cone. Noah Baker got a bad jump on the ball. I think he read the swing, not necessarily the ball. He got a late jump, but he made up ground, and he makes a snow cone. That is a limoncello snow cone right there.
Snow cones here. And there are 2 out for Matthew Waugh. More than capable of tying this game with 1 swing.
The drone shot from Luciano Lafrano, there you see it, high up above the main diamond here at Softball City.
Love those pictures.
Who needs a blimp? Change up off the dish.
Good pitch. You're not going to get hurt with that. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 out. The tying run at home plate in national team veteran Matthew Waugh. Base hit. Waugh on his way to second. And the difference is 1.
Big clap of the hand there from Matthew Waugh. This is a high hopper that gets over the head of Jeff Lyons. It hugs the line all the way down to right field. And you see Matty Waugh standing up at second base. It doesn't get any easier with Chris Walushka. Sorry.
And we're going to get a visit. Nobody working right now. There was some activity early. And give the Sook Loggers a lot of credit. Gave up 3 in the bottom of the 6th. Could have gone, well, once again, it's not our time. But they've strung some hits together here.
Bear Creek is scrambling to get some folks ready down the left field side, and they're actually on the outside of the fence. It's Reese Yancey, the lefty. He is throwing quickly and with some urgency.
Chris Walushka, 39 years of age. And a swing and a miss on the Mannion offering. What a great game tonight to end day number 2. Tying run at second. And Matthew Waugh likely to score on any ball that gets through the infield. If you're in the middle of the diamond or anywhere in the infield, knock it down if you can. Here's the 1-1. Straight back.
Straight back had a good swing on it. But advantage Mannion right here. He's now got the opportunity to work with his pitch. Doesn't have to throw a strike here for the next 2 pitches.
Does he have the gumption to throw you-know-what right here?
No, I put that pitch away personally, but I've never been a pitcher either.
Me either. Well, I did when I was 10. Well, that was not the change.
No, pure hard stuff there. What he's got to do, and this is, again, where he needs to have gone to school all season long with Sean Cleary and Justin Schofield. Don't just try to blow it by Chris Walushka here. Execute on the pitch. Hit the corner. Don't throw it middle.
The drop away and down would probably be the choice. As he tries to set himself.
And that's the difference between being a pitcher and being a thrower, is hitting the spots.
And young pitchers need to learn, and that's the great part of the maturity, right, Blair, is going from exactly what you just said, from being a thrower to a pitcher. And there is a difference. But these are great. This is how you get better. These are great reps.
Oh, absolutely. Good pitch, upstairs, up above the letters. He's going to pop that pitch up if he hits it.
Two and two. Struck him out. And Riley Mannion put to work in a big way in the 7th. Gave up 2, but records strikeout number 11 of the game. in a gem of a contest as Bear Creek wins it 4-3. They improve their record to 3-0, and a very good Sook Lager team falls to 0-3. But you can say this: they have more than played the tough part of their schedule.
They've got their work cut out for them tomorrow. It's certainly doable for the Sook Loggers. For Bear Creek, a statement win for Riley Mannion and for this Bear Creek team. Put themselves in great position to be at the top of the Black Pool. Sets up a great matchup with the Toronto Batmen tomorrow, too.
That was a terrific game of men's fast pitch softball. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. For Luciano, Carol, Blair, Peter Lubardius saying good night from Softball City.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now, softballpremiertv.com.